Well, good evening, everybody. I'm sure we'll probably have a few more folks join us, but we'll go ahead and get started. Thank you for being here. My name is Shannon Sheehy. I am the manager of strategic partnerships for CodeU. It's basically a fancy way of saying that I manage our careers team here. So I lead our fantastic team of career coaches and tech employer specialists who are here to help you all with the job hunt aspect of CodeU. So please feel free to reach out if you have any questions in that realm. Before we get to our speaker tonight, though, just a few announcements to share with everybody. The first one just being our upcoming slate of speakers. So we have 3 weeks scheduled out. So next week, we are going to be hosting Matt Hensley, who is a mentor for the program. And he's going to talk about soft skills that engineers need, which is a really great topic. The following week, March 4th, we are going to have Steph Hogan, who is actually a grad school classmate of mine, and she is a career changer into tech. And she's going to talk about her area of expertise, which is agile and product. And then the following week, March 11th, we are going to host Russ Rummel, who's going to talk about AI tools and some tips on how to both use them and not use them to best utilize them. So we're excited about that one. Other events coming up, our careers team is working on more engaging events, so keep an eye out for those. For folks in Louisville or who can make it to Louisville, on Thursday, March 7th, we are hosting our first ever industry night event. There's also an in-person event coming up in Lexington on March 6th. That is not one that we are directly involved with, but you're welcome to attend, and there's information about that in Slack. And then finally, if you're here as part of your career readiness requirement, just be sure to fill out the form in your Google Classroom. Just a couple housekeeping items. Please keep yourself muted throughout the presentation as much as possible. We will have time for questions, and if you want to throw anything in the chat, that's totally fine. I know Tiffany has a great presentation, and she said we'll have plenty of time at the end for questions, so we'll make sure that we get to those. So with that, tonight we are joined by Tiffany L. Jones-Coleman from the bit502 program. She's going to share a little bit more information about the program, the application deadline that's coming up soon, what to expect. And then again, we will have some time for questions at the end as well. So with that, Tiffany, I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to you. Thanks so much for joining us tonight.
Hello, everyone, and thanks for having me. My name is Tiffany. I have a title Director of Industry Partnerships at JCTC, and two of the programs that fall under that. One is KY Fame, and one is bit502. And bit502 stands for Be in Tech. And of course, 502 is the area code. I am going to start the presentation, and it's very relaxed. It's going to be plenty of time for questions, and I'm going to be going through making certain points as the PowerPoints are up. So if you have questions and I'm going over something too fast, just jot quick notes because we have plenty of time for questions. But the program was born from the other program, which is KY Fame. And what KY Fame is that employers were looking for a different way of recruiting industrial maintenance technicians. And because they weren't getting the candidates from the regular way of recruitment, job fairs, reviewing resumes. So what they did was think of a way, how can we get people to get the education side of it and we get the technical skills side of it? So
Tiffany,
they allow, yes.
We can't see your slides. Are you?
They're not up yet. I'm
They're
sorry.
Not, okay, okay. Wanted to make sure.
Thank you. They're not up yet.
Thanks.
And so with Fame, they just had the format of, while people are attending classes, learning those skills, we will have them come work for us under our mentor, learning on-the-job skills under that field of industrial maintenance. And so it has great success. And so the same type of need was needed in the IT field. So employer partners got together and said, hey, this is working for KY Fame. Let's see if it can work for IT. So this program is basically an education/training program under the umbrella of IT. So that's how bit502 came about. So now I am going to share my screen. We're thinking.
Likes to
And
take a second.
it does. Now, where did the PowerPoint go? See, we had it all together for you guys. Hold on. Da-da-da-da-da. Hold on. Da-da-da-da-da. Where is it? Hold on. I promise we had it.
Are you seeing is it giving you the present now option on the bottom?
It's giving me where it's telling me what areas I can do my windows, entire screen.
Oh,
So
okay,
everything
and you're looking for the
yeah, and I don't even see it, but I see it open down here. So party people, there we go. There we go. See it?
yes.
There we go. So that's bit502. One of my roles as part of the program is called a success coach, which means I help provide services outside of the school part. So for example, if someone was in the program and may needed information about tutoring or information about food insecurities, or hey, where can I get a laptop? Those are some of the things that I help with, and also help bridge the liaison between the student and the actual employer. Stephen DePaula, he is the program coordinator, and he is an IT professor here, and that will act as the advisor for the program. So this is the person that will make sure that you stay on the career track and the career plan as far as your IT major. So these are the people there. And what is bit502? It's an apprenticeship style program where you are on the track to get your associate's degree. And there's certain credentials that you can earn along the way while working with an employer, learning the technical skills. So it's called apprenticeship style because the overall program is to set up to get you to learn a skill, meaning you will not be with an employer and filing paperwork or getting coffee or being a runner. You will be an employer. You will actually be employed by that employer in an IT role. So you will be learning that IT skill. So that's why it's called apprenticeship style and not an internship or a co-op, because whatever benefits that you're eligible for under an employer, that is what you will be. And you will be an IT major at JCTC. So you'll be working towards your associate degree. All of your classes will be online, and you will meet in person one day a week on Mondays from like 10 to 12 as a cohort. And those Monday meetings are basically mini meetings. You'll have guest speakers there. If you needed assistance or you wanted to work on some of your online work, the labs are available for that. You will present like work projects to share with the group. So those Monday meetings are more of a professional development type meetings on Mondays, because all of your classes will be online, and then you will work with the employer Tuesdays through Friday. These are some of the employers that we work with as far as possible employment. And when you see the phrase of they're debt free, that is talking about if anyone that could be possibly eligible for any financial aid. But there is also a scholarship called the Work Ready Scholarship, which is not income based. It is based on your major, and IT being being a high demand field in Kentucky. That is one of the majors that is eligible for the Work Ready Scholarship. You still will have to complete your FAFSA. And regardless if you receive aid from the FAFSA or not, that is just one of the requirements for applying for the Work Ready Scholarship. So if you apply for the FAFSA, you're not eligible for any aid. You can still apply for the Work Ready Scholarship. That FAFSA just has to be completed. And these are the other scholarship opportunities that you can get. Your FAFSA Evolve 502, that is a scholarship if you graduated from JCPS school, but I think you have to use that within a year or so of your graduation. In the structure of the program, you'll be paired with the IT mentor at the employment and HR support, and then you will have the supportive services at Jefferson. These are three of the most popular tracks at JCTC. You can major in whatever track in IT. It's just the programming, network administration, information security are the three main tracks that most of the employers that we partner with are looking for. But there are people in the program that have other majors under IT and still have partnered with an employer. But these are just the three main tracks that most employer partners are looking to fill at their place of at their jobs, and they're looking to fill those positions. I'm sorry. And these are just three of the main tracks, but there are students that are majoring in other things under IT that still work with some of our employer partners. As an apprentice in your field, these are just the core classes, regardless of your track, because you'll probably have to take under the umbrella of IT. As I mentioned before, you can earn some certificates along the way, gaining your associate degree. Like, for example, CIT 111, you could be eligible for A+ certifications under this class. So there are certain classes you can take and still get some certificates along the way as you're working towards your associate degree. This is how we set you up for success, is that you're going to be partnered with the mentor at the job that's going to help with resources along the way. And then you will also have that other additional support services at school. Those Monday meetings also act as a support service. You'll be working with your peers. If you get stuck on an assignment with school or something's pressing, 9 times out of 10, you might be in the same class as someone that's in that cohort. You can help and work with homework or assignments together. So that is the advantage of those Monday meetings as well, and also working as a cohort and being part of the program, is that you will have that opportunity to work with your peers, and you will also have the opportunity to get additional support in your at your job with your IT mentor. How do you apply? If you haven't, the bit502.com application, you apply there. Actually, the deadline is March the 9th. As you can see, these slides are old, but the deadline is March 9th for those applications. So you will apply for that. And this is sort of the timeline. And I'm going to skip this to get more, ignore this because FAME has the same timeline. But this is sort of the timeline of the program. Around October, February is the application process, both for KY FAME and JCTC. This can be considered an interest meeting, but I usually have interest meetings so people can ask questions and learn more about the program. After that, then you see if this is for you. And then at this time, the FAFSA things are available if you're interested and eligible to apply for that. February, March is when we come to the application deadline. We review process of elimination, the deadline, and then we do what's called an employer showcase. What that is, think of a job fair, but not quite a job fair. Employers come to the AMIT, they set up, and it's your opportunity to see exactly what employers are hiring for as far as positions. And it's also their opportunity to meet you, to say, hey, what are your interests, IT interests? Would you be a fit for my company, et cetera, et cetera. But it's just a showcase so that you will see what employers are participating and they can initially meet you. Then you review again. Is this for me? Maybe, maybe not. And if you haven't completed your FAFSA, you can do that. How this works, people ask, how do I know where I'm going to land? If anyone's familiar with fantasy football or any type of draft, employers pick a draft order and then they select who they want to interview. After they do the interview, if I am XYZ employer and John is my best candidate and I interview John, but I have the second pick, LG&E picks before me, they like John as well, then John goes with LG&E, then I have to go down to my next best pick. You will also rank the employers because, for example, if you are a, programming major and one of the companies are just looking for security specialists or coders specifically or something specific that's not in your wheelhouse, you won't rank them, and then they want to interview you. So you get the opportunity to rank your area of program interest as well, and then they do it in draft order as far as who they pick and where you will land. And that happens around March, April-ish. Then April, May, you will know if you've got picked up by an employer or not. You'll know where you're going to work and your start date. If you haven't done the JCTC side, meaning filling out the JCTC application and getting everything needed for qualifying for JCTC, you would do that as well, meaning transcripts, application. If you have to take, if you don't have ACT scores or assessment test, or it's been a while, you might have to take an assessment test. Those things happen around this time. So in a nutshell, bit502 is a program to where you are a JCTC student, partner with an employer partner, learning your IT skills. So it's not a employment-based program, meaning if you already have a degree in IT, this is not the program, because this program are for those who don't have credentials in the IT field and is looking to gain those credentials and land a job in the IT area. If you have taken some things under Code Louisville and not yet have completed a degree or anything, once you've completed 3 hours at JCTC, then those Code Louisville classes or things that you've taken can be reviewed to obtain credits for those as well. But you have to have complete, I think, at least 3 hours at JCTC for those Code Louisville credits to count over. No employer partner that's participating in the program can pay less than $16 an hour. So and everybody pays more. So at minimum, if you get picked up by an employer, you will be making at least $16 an hour. Once again, most employers pay more. No one can pay below that. And just lost my thought process. Hold on, $60 an hour, that's the minimum. And then you will be working Tuesday through Friday. Are there overtime opportunities and special project opportunities available? Yes, that is totally up to your employer that decide that. But every employer knows that you all do not work on Mondays, because Mondays you will be at the Monday meetings at JCTC. So that is the program in a nutshell. And I'm sure some of your questions will spark some things I may have missed. So any questions?
And feel free to unmute yourself at this point. If you don't have a mic, feel free to throw your question in the chat and I'll be happy to read that out to Tiffany.
I have a question. If the classes are online, do we also work online or work remotely and just come in once a week on that Monday for the meeting? Or how does the scheduling work?
Every employer is different. So if you are working with Waystar, you might have to report on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and the rest of it might be remote. If you're working at GE, you might have to show up every day. I mean, Tuesday through Friday in person. So every employer has a different work schedule. And that is totally up to the employer of how they do that. And that is also can be a question as far that you can ask at the employer showcase.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Tiffany, someone in the chat is asking if the employers offer health insurance benefits. And then along with that, can you just talk about, like, are there paid holidays or any other sort of benefits that might go along with the job?
Every employer is different. So health benefits, once again, I'm sorry, because every employer is different. I can't answer for that. I'm so sorry. I wish I had those answers, but I don't. But whatever is the guidance of that employer, for some, 40 hours might be eligible for health insurance. For others, if you're just part of the program, you might be eligible for health insurance. So every employer has a different policy. Same with paid holidays and all of that. So whatever those employer guidance are, you are an employee of that company and you'll be eligible for whatever they offer. And unfortunately, every employer is different. So I don't have the specifics of that, because some may consider, because they know that you all are part of the program, 32 hours full time. because some of y'all may be working on special projects and get those extra hours on the weekends or whatever because you opt to do that. Others may consider you just part-time. And so whatever falls under part-time benefits, that's what you're eligible for. So it really does depend on the employer as far as what they offer. All I do know is that the minimum wage that they have to pay, and they can't go below that. But as far as the other benefits and packages, it just aligns with whatever that employer offers under their guidance.
Gregory, I see your hand raised. Did you have a question?
Yes. So from the employer end of things, if an employer signs up, do they have to commit to taking on a certain number of students every session, or can they take one session and maybe skip a session or skip 2 sessions and then take on another one later on?
Employers do their picks based on 2 things, based on their own budget. So once again, we do ask for the employer to do at least a 2-year commitment, because there's nothing worse than going to school, getting your credential, graduating, then they're asking for what when you're looking for jobs? Experience. So the goal here is for at least for you to get those 2 years experience with that employer. So we do ask for a 2-year commitment. Every employer drafts or gets their candidates based on their need within their company. So for example, an employer might actually draft 4, but it might be 3 programmers and 1 help desk specialist. And then they might say, hey, and this program starts in August. So this is a semester, it's not a semester-based program, it's an annual program. So it's every fall is when the program is, because so right now the recruitment session is for fall 2024. So there's no pickups in fall, then there's something else in spring. So this is fall 2024 recruitment session, and then the next recruitment will be fall 2025. So each employer, based on their need and based on some of their internal budgets, will determine if I will keep whoever I recruit in 2024 throughout their 2 years or whatever they have on their academic plan, and then I'm going to circle back once they all graduate. And then we have employers that recruit every year. So once again, it's based on their IT need in their company, but they do have at least a 2-year commitment. And then it also depends on their need as well. Did that answer? Gregory, did that answer your question?
It did. Thank you.
Okay.
We had another question in the chat. Are the classes on a typical 2-semester schedule?
Yes, JCTC is fall, spring, summer. Fall, spring, and summer, fall, spring, and summer. So yes, but we do have intermittent 8-week classes. So we do have 16-week classes, which is the full semester. And then there are some classes that are 8 to 12 weeks that can get scheduled for. But the semester runs from August to December, and then spring is January through May. And then the summer session's different. There's some in May, there's some in June, and there's some in July. But typically it is the 2 semesters.
Kayla, I see your hand raised if you want to unmute yourself.
Yes. So if you're not accepted for this particular semester, can you still apply for the next semesters, or is it just a one-time thing?
I tell everyone you can always apply, but this is the thing. If you, for example, let's say you go through the process, you apply, you did an employer, you interview, you didn't get picked up by an employer. We still have the summer, because sometimes employers are late to the party. They might say, hey, we've missed the recruitment session, or we want to participate. Do you have any candidates? So there's still the summer for the possibility of getting picked up. Then I tell students, if you do not get picked up by an employer, that does not negate you for still being a CIT student at JCTC. You can still go to school and major in CIT. You just won't have that employer piece and be a part of bit502. So you can still enroll in school and work towards your credentials and still be a student. You just won't have that employer piece of the program. Then if you do want to apply for 2025, you most certainly can. That's nothing stopping you for that. So we do have some candidates from last year that will be applying again this year. But I always tell, just because you don't get picked up on the initial interview session around March or April, I will still be in contact with employers and the candidates for summer, because there could be a possibility of an employer come late and would like to interview over the summer. And then if there's nothing by the beginning of August, you can still go to your classes, be enrolled at JCTC, and still work towards your degree.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
We had a question in the chat, Tiffany. Someone was wondering how many students are accepted per year, or do you happen to know how many open roles are open right now?
No, because currently at this time, we are asking employers now to send us their numbers. So there is really not a set number per year. Because if we have 5 employers and they each turn, recruit 2, sometimes we have 8 employers. And like I said, one year recruited 4. So unfortunately, I do not have the solid numbers for that, because once again, we're just now getting those numbers from the employers of who's participating and how many are they wanting to recruit. And some of them now are beginning to send some of their incumbent workers, meaning someone that might be working in the company in another department, but may have an interest in IT, they're now beginning to send them through the program as well. So it really depends on the number of employers and the slots that they're looking for. So unfortunately, I do not have that number. Sorry.
Yeah, thank you. Gwen, did you have a question?
Yeah. So if you graduated from high school and you have a few college credit hours, but they're from like 10, 15 years ago, do you need to retake like the SAT or the ACT or the entrance exam or anything like that?
Your ACT scores should be valid for at least 7 years. I'm not sure about the SAT. If you graduated from high school and have any dual credits from high schools, we do have some high school students with that. You do not have to retake any of those classes if they count towards your program plan. So I tell people who are interested in the program that might have dual credit, high school credit or anything, to go ahead and apply for JCTC and get those transcripts in, so we'll know sooner than later if anything has to be retaken. But as far as assessment tests, generally those tests last for like 7 to 8 years, and you wouldn't have to take those ACTs test over.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Tiffany, another question from the chat. Someone is wondering if they finished high school and undergrad in another country, are they eligible to participate?
They're eligible to participate because they sometimes they don't recognize those particular degrees and credits, so they will still be eligible, and especially if it's in a different program base. So I still tell them to still apply for JCTC and get those transcripts to transcribe over. But yes, you will still be eligible.
Okay. And the second part to that person's question was asking about applying for financial aid. I know you mentioned that in your presentation. Is that information available at the bit502 website?
Maybe not on the bit502 website, but on the JCTC website. And it's actually, if you literally just Google FAFSA, FAFSA, it will come up. You just complete that FAFSA. The Work Ready Scholarship application will not be available to May 1st. But you can start the FAFSA now. That was released December 31st.
Awesome. Barbara, I know you have your hand up.
Yes, thank you. I was wondering, if someone, let's say, had a degree in information security, but wanted to go back and be a part of the program and get like a programming associates, would they be eligible, or would their first degree knock them out of it?
If you want to do a different track, there's a possibility of eligibility, but what will happen is it would get reviewed, because the bulk of your, and where did that first degree come from? What school?
I'm just asking in general, because the 3 tracks you mentioned, I've already completed. But I was just wondering if someone perhaps had only concentrated on one track, would they be eligible if they'd like, I got mine at HCTC.
Okay. So, because what will happen is that the goal is for at least 1.5 to 2 years of education. And if you already gotten that, you've already taken the bulk of the classes eligible for that program. And you would probably only need maybe maybe 8 to 4. I can't see the program plan in my head. I'm sorry. Classes in mind, which could be just a semester or less. And so they'll be taking an opportunity for someone on the 4 track. So, but we
Okay.
will still review. But if you got it from HCTC, 9 times out of 10, the bulk of those classes are already counting towards that. Like your gen eds are done and your core technical classes are done. It's just a concentration on that major, which could be probably 4 to 5 classes.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Gwen, did you have a question?
Yes. So if we don't get drafted, are we able to go to school for free? We just won't be compensated by an employer?
2 things very clear. Employers are not paying tuition. Employers are
Okay.
paying wages, not tuition. So that is why we stress that you fill out and utilize all of the financial aid opportunities there. So employers do not pay tuition. So even if you were going to school, even if you did get drafted, you will have to find a way to pay tuition. So there's no going to school for free. This is not our going to school for free. This is the connection with the employer to get the experience and a job. But as far as if you don't get drafted, you can still go to school, but either way, drafted or not, you will still have to have a way to get tuition paid because employers do not pay tuition.
Okay. And that's where the FAFSA comes in.
Yes, that's where the FAFSA comes in. And once that's completed, May 1st, is also where that work ready comes in as well.
Okay, thank you.
And to flip-flop, let's say you do get drafted and you've been there with that company for a year or whatever, however you're eligible. I do know the bulk of them do offer tuition reimbursement. So if for some reason you do have to pay tuition out of pocket, whenever you are eligible for tuition reimbursement, you can also utilize the benefit with your company because I do know the bulk of them do offer that. But as far as initially applying, employers do not pay for college. That's why we emphasize the FAFSA and the Work Ready Scholarship. They just pay your wage and allow you that Monday off and that experience.
Thanks, Tiffany. Last call for questions. I don't see any more in chat. Does anybody have anything? Kayla?
Yes, I was gonna ask, so are the schedules gonna be set for Tuesday through Friday, or would it be possible that the employer may schedule us on the weekends, or do you all know?
The schedule is set Tuesday through Friday. I know those who do work the weekends is because they either volunteered or was on a special project or something. They're getting compensated for that as well. So once again, those employers set those, but your work schedule is Tuesday through Friday. But some of those weekend or extra overtime opportunities, they are compensated through the employer. It just depends on the project and things or whatever you're assigned to at work.
Okay.
But like a Saturday is not your typical scheduled work day. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Anybody else? All right. Well, I threw a quick note in the chat with the application link, so please be sure to visit that. And Tiffany, I believe you said the application date is March 9th. Is that correct?
Yes, March 9th is the deadline for that. And why can I not multitask? And chat, if you can do me a favor, you can put my email in the chat too, please.
Yeah, absolutely.
If anybody is interested, and thank you once again. If you even are thinking about it, I still say go ahead and fill out the application. We'd much rather you do it now than think you're going to think later, yes, I want to do it, then the application deadline has passed. But my email is in the chat. If you are interested, let me know. Just say I was part of the Code Louisville meeting And because the next step will be to fill out a candidate form as well, and then send your resume. And if you are interested, just reply to me, then I will send you a copy of that candidate form. And all that candidate form is just a little, are you currently a JCTC student? Are you enrolled at Louisville? Just basic questions on that candidate form. So I can email that to you. And then what you would do will return that along with your resume, because after the application deadline, employers will get a link to review all of the candidate resumes and those snapshot forms. So that's another reason why, if you're interested, just make sure that I have that information, and so that your resume and snapshot form can be reviewed. And then that's also will put you on a distribution list, so you'll get the information about the employer showcase and anything else related to bit502.
Perfect. And I also put so I shared Tiffany's email, and then if you are reaching out to Tiffany, please be sure to also do a resume review with our career coach. Jenny Terry is the career coach for the Louisville area, so she would be happy to go through your resume with you, so it's in a nice shiny shape before it goes out to those employers. Well, thank you so much, everyone. Tiffany, is there anything else that you've thought of or may have missed? I know we covered a lot. This was great.
I know, but I hope I didn't miss anything. And if I did, or if you all have any other questions, you have my email. Just feel free just to shoot me an email. But I think the key thing to remember is that if you're interested in furthering your education or actually getting the credential, your associate degree, still go ahead and enroll at JCTC. If you do get drafted and work with the employer, great. If not, still be that student. And then also know that your Louisville coursework and work can also get credited over to credits as well under JCTC after you've completed 3 hours. So it's a plus either way.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Tiffany. And thank you all for joining. And I'll share this in Slack after as well. But I hope everybody has a great night. Thanks so much for being here.
Okay. Thank you.